Hello and welcome back to the channel and the rare playthrough stream that isn't linked to a contest. Grovey's come out with a new one, Shoreham Island Club, and this is one we've been chatting about for a while. He does a number of playthroughs of my courses whenever they come out and is really kind with feedback and things like that. So it's nice to be able to return the favour, and he was keen to get my thoughts on this. If you haven't played Adam's courses before, they're awesome. They're just like really, they're commonly described as comfy golf, like just really friendly, inviting to play, like not overly difficult, but with enough strategic interest. Basically, if you're looking for the interest, it's there. It's not necessarily forced on you. Now, this one I know is based on Fisher's Island Club, and you can tell kind of by the plot, it's really got that nice wraparound, I guess delta kind of plot, but you've got some of the little ponds inland. I know a good amount about Fishers, like the templates and all of that, but not so much about the area it's in, if that makes sense. Planting is by a mile his best yet. Like, normally, Grovey kind of just does the course and then doesn't really want to plant it. This is really good. Looking nice. The flat bottom bunkers are fairly well done. I think they're functional rather than perfectly flat, shall we say. I like the waterways. Texture choices are good. I know he was worried about brightness. That's definitely not an issue. And those big open views are great. Love the road cutting through. Like, stuff like that adds a little bit of realism as long as you're not hitting over it for no particular reason and stuff like that. It works really nicely. We're just flying around completely at random. Oh, you've got holes all the way out here. That looks like the Cape, which looks brilliant. I'm assuming it's kind of is. It's like the Fisher's Cape. Oh yeah, definitely. If the OT's back here. Oh, this just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Fishers, for those of you who don't know, basically doesn't do a ton with fairway bunkering. So it's all to do with the undulation of the property that gives a lot of the strategic defense rather than bunkers. So it doesn't need them. Like the land movement does pretty much everything. This hole looks amazing. We love that. And just like simple low profile green sites. Yeah, all the stuff we would like. And obviously the views are outstanding, but it's not really much of a coastal course in that sense. Like it's not one of those more modern courses where the water is in play on every hole. It's not. That's not what it's trying to be. Love the little touch. Yeah, little touches have been really good. Okay, and there's our dude all the way back here at the clubhouse. Oh, I like what you've done with 18 and disconnected that. That looks fun. We've got a flag. He's put in some effort. We appreciate that. Right. Okay. Hole one then. And from the overhead, this looks really straightforward. The question is it? Probably just kind of hit the fairway, but okay, double plateau. Now I know he redid this green relatively late. Double plateaus are really hard to get looking remotely good. Contouring on this looks brilliant. You can see probably the different pin slots. I'm interested whether he went with one in the swale. Those are always fun. I'd imagine certainly one in back at least, one front right, and then this one, and then it's whether that middle one's anywhere else. We just want a wedge in really, so I think it's just hit the fairway. So should be okay. Very much kind of giving up this tee shot. It's I wouldn't say it's the firm handshake, but it's gentle, but in real life, this would be a tiny target to be aiming for. I think I can just take a bit off and yeah. It's a nice start. I like the houses in the background. Those flower models really need updating in the game. They're starting to show their age a bit. Anyway, 1 under 3-1. The grass planting looks really good. I would say that I would probably want you scaling these down just a little. I'm obviously going to showcase the course a lot, but I know he'll want feedback as well. Likewise, whenever he plays my courses, and planting, he knows, is one of the things, and it's partly patience more than anything. Okay, I don't think I'm going to go template spotting. I'm just going to enjoy it and then see what they are later. Because this one is not the green, but that little kind of indentation or roll there is really cool. Because this is something I would tend not to do. And I really like it as a feature. I wouldn't shed balls off the green, but when you've got fairway here, completely makes sense. Yeah, I've got no idea what this template would be. Which is why I try not to go around template spotting too much, because you kind of often just lose what the fun of playing the course is. Don't necessarily play the hole in front of you. And again, like I could be anywhere on this fairway, and it kind of maybe matters a little bit. You got the front to back green, hard front to back green. Oh, that is. You know what? It's not a good shot. That gets right and doesn't hit that little roll. The front to back green would have helped us there. You wish that would roll into the bunker as well. It's not really Adam's fault. Can't do anything about that. Love the way that it's just introducing that coastline, but without it ever really being in play. Again, I'd probably just thicken this grass up so you can't like see the individual models, but that's a me thing. Oh, I might need to sit. Or going. Going's fine. Always look like a birdie on that hole. Okay, 3, heading up and over. Yeah, this is very Fisher's land movement, so just like we kind of want to be on this side for the flat lie, I guess. But with wind into, that's going to be hard, and we're more likely to be somewhere down here. And green is entertaining. Can't hold that. No, I was never going to get it that downwind. Okay, which means that the main challenge is stance and I guess distance to this one. There's a couple of little pockets in this green. This one, I can kind of miss anywhere. Really don't want to miss right. Up 8, the 3 wood and short is fine. Or do we do something stupid? See, the worst miss would be going long, so we're not doing that. We'll just come up short, it's fine. Or go left. Left is also okay. We've got a little bit of a backstop. I'm really enjoying the environment. Like, just does the planting is not overly flashy, but it does everything it needs to. It blocks out the view, provides a tree line, like where the spacing in the corridor is good. Yeah. 3 for 3. Okay, now you get that really cool view of everything out in front of you. I like the lighthouse. It's a fun little lighthouse. Okay, another one with a little green and a little pocket. So we don't want to go too far right, I guess, or you hit. No, you kind of got ways of. If we go too far right, then you're trying to use it as a backstop. If you're going left, then you're using able to land it short and roll it up there either way. I think we want to be left if we can be. Don't want to take on the water. Wind will bring it back round. There is fine. Again, really cool land movement. That's quite a long approach. Somewhere about over here, I think. Took a little off it. Should be good. Excellent. Again, really like how the bunkers are close to being integrated to the planting. They don't need to do too much, but just it coming close enough makes the whole feel part of the landscape. Tiny little break back at the end. I don't think it's doing too much though. Just about had enough. Really fun start. That skyline green is beautiful. And little things like that lighthouse off in the distance, like this is so well framed. If the lighting model in the game was just a bit better so it didn't look quite as shiny, that would be some like that's some view. Very raised green. A little bit of a kicker slope if you did have a more of a running shot. So like this is something for those of you who kind of are looking to pick stuff up as to what really good designers do. Yeah, 99% of the time this is being played with an aerial shot and people are just going straight at the pin and landing it there, and you can do that. But if you miss the fairway, you've still got a shot. You can run it up this side and roll it on, and that little slope there will help it towards this pin. And you don't want to do that on every single green, but you always want to be thinking about how can I help the person who's out of position, even if it might not seem that way. I love how mounded this is. And like, there's such good sightline work here. Like for all that we say, he doesn't do much planting. The visual balance here is phenomenally good, and like, I cannot think of many tee shots I think are more beautiful than this one. House there, lighthouse there, the waterway and the sun coming off that, flags silhouetted against the sky, just like, I think we can do much better. I might lower this land just so you can see this bit of water a little bit more as well. And I might put a touch more detail planting around here, like low grasses and things like that. But it doesn't need it. It's just really well done. And in that time we've gained a tailwind. Excellent. And we've got to take on that dune, otherwise you potentially run out of space a little bit on the left and put yourself in a worse angle. It's a really long hole, you're still coming with the sand wedge, which is ludicrous. Slow hasn't helped. We've still got a putt for it. Proximities of tees to greens is also a big thing that he does really well. Like, just being able to look around and see where the next tee is and where the next tee shot is. Yeah, it doesn't. Yes, we're in a sandbox. Yes, it doesn't really matter, but it makes a big difference when you can see those things. It does kind of help the whole round feel connected. Well, we're not making this putt. 151. It's always too high. Oh, the birdie streak ends, but I mean, that's another really strong hole. So if you look closely, you may see that my score has just dropped by 1 for no particular reason. I actually ran out of space on my hard drive whilst recording this one, so I had to go back and replay the first 5 holes in order to get to 6 just for this video. I carried on the original round, so everything leaps back into place after this one. But we're just re-recording a separate one just for 6. Now with this one, we're back down in the low part. Again, I said I love how this works just next to the tee, next to the previous green. I kind of would like to see a little bit more of this water. I feel drop this planting just a little bit more. One thing I've tried to do a little more on your planting generally is try and make it a bit more diagonal or less kind of like flat horizontal lines are something we kind of want to avoid. Like a little bit more ups and downs where you can, but like here I would be lowering because then you get the view of all that water that's right there. And bear in mind your golfer blocks a little bit of it. Like it looks great. Let's just show it off as much as we can do. Now, kind of a similar like blind tee shot, but you can see where the fairway is. You can see the flag also silhouetted in the distance, which is cool. A couple of little tree lines. Oh, wrong button. Now, as for what we want to play and where we want to do, hit this. A couple of little pockets. So if I want an uphill putt to this hole, I could always use that little backstop and drop down here and then. But it's not the easiest. I think I want to drop down to 3-wood and leave probably a full wedge in, maybe from a downslope, but let's play over here somewhere. A little downslope. So that's going to affect distance control just a touch, but I definitely wanted a full wedge in. And with that wind and that downslope, I think a lob wedge could be perfect. Hedging my bets just a little to the left because I don't. There you go. You see it pushed just a touch right, but because I'd aimed a little bit left, that's not really. If I'd gone dead at the flag, then we'd be missing the green. A little bit of course management, and suddenly got a makeable birdie putt. Oh, I didn't hit it. So there we are. Great view out across the sound as well. Love that openness, and you can see so many holes from this one location. Really cool little cluster of greens there. And that one just across the road, which we haven't played yet. Oh, no, that must be 17, and then 18 goes back towards the clubhouse. This is a very cool high point, and you get a little sneak preview of the next hole coming up as well. Love that. So yeah, seems to be back at -4. Okay, I'm back in this round at 7th. Now, we've got the shorts, which looks really, really good. I think bushes-wise, I might like to see some of these sunken just a little more. It's kind of one level, but I guess that makes sense. Just because you can create that little bit more depth of vision if they're at varied heights. Now, more importantly, the green has loads going on. So there's multiple ways to get to this pin. You could play short, which would probably leave you the easiest putt uphill, or you can go for it, and you've got all of those contours that should bring you pretty close. But if you miss here, that's nasty. With that wind, just take a pitching wedge, I think. All sorts of fun pin positions, like none of them too challenging, but if you're playing for this one, you're bringing these bunkers more into play, etc. Again, probably better to be in this bunker than to be this side of the spine. And I love the little plateau right at the back because that forces you to think about wind a little bit more. And the fact that the green gets a bit narrower towards the back, again, means you've got to be more precise with your elevation the riskier you go with your tee shot. And what else do we have? Probably one down here, which I guess has that little pimple coming in. It's probably the least exciting pin position down here, but still a good one. Okay. Let's see if we can keep our tempo going from last night. That might be the wrong side. Oh, that's where you don't want to miss. Still, it's a fun putt. Like, I've just got to get it breaking slightly over the hill. And the contours should kind of do their work. And I'd probably end up slightly the other side of the pin, but that's okay. Yeah, just got it over. Okay, could have been a bit more aggressive. But I like that even that putt had kind of strategic consequences and you're thinking about where you're putting it and what you're doing with it. Okay, another skyline tee shot, which is really cool. With this one, potentially run through the fairway if you go too far to the right, the left. So you do have to challenge that fairway bunker a little bit more. I don't think it's really in play. As for the green, yeah, loads of little interesting mounds coming in. Still some helper slopes. If you go too far left, then you're running off the green a touch. It's okay. Pretty much perfect tee shot. Just very satisfying seeing all that fairway and ball just rolling out. Like, there's only one hazard, so to speak, of on the hole, on the tee shot rather, with that one bunker, but you still have to be mindful of where you're landing given the sloping. Another good green site, just tied in nicely with that tee behind. I do like the road working its way through to get to that little lighthouse as well. Okay. A bit more on the lob wedge and a bit less than a sandwich. Upwind. There. Oh, that's the first bad swing of the day. I'm going to miss the green left. Nice that it does kick into the bunker. That's some good sculpting because it doesn't look extreme, yet plays really well, which is the hardest balance to find in this game. That's a pretty good bunker shot. As you can see, some of the scaling of those plants I'd probably be lowering just a touch. Like close to surfaces, I find you have to make them much smaller to look. Otherwise, they look kind of Jurassic when your golfer stands next to them. All right, 9. So this must be our Eden, I would guess. Yeah, and you can putt off the front if you're not careful. Ooh, that's great. That's got some serious back to front sloping. Which I like. For me, that's the main feature of an Eden, because the bunkers for us aren't really in play, he says. 8 iron. Probably the play. I don't think I've got no way to end up below the hole on this one. But it's not significantly downhill, this bit. It's only if I go way beyond it, which is a nice touch. Okay, somewhere out here, I think. Again, really nicely framed. That's as good as I can do. Okay, so we've got, yeah, downhill 5 inches. Not a pretty good shot, really. Can't do much more without bringing that bunker really into play. One thing I probably would have done, I keep going back to the planting because it's basically the only thing I can find to nitpick. The white flowers, I think, are a great touch. I might just not use them everywhere. And this was something I certainly did with planting a while back. Like highlight plants, if you have them in just like little clusters, and then there's parts of the course where they are and parts where they aren't, rather than kind of being everywhere. It just works a bit visually better. So like you could mix in another colour, like a yellow somewhere in patches, things like that. Okay, 10. Is this our cape? Love this template of Fisher's. Yeah, and as you can see, so we've got a load of fairway here, no discernible hazards, but the hazard is really where you play onto the second shot. So yes, I could hit drivers straight down the middle. The further to the right I go, the more I'm taking on those bunkers. Whereas if I play more left, obviously I bring in more trouble off the tee, like you've got water this side, fairway shrinks, but you get that much better angle in towards that pin. That said, if I do go that side, I can probably leave the ball middle of the green. It's just going to be very difficult to get to that plateau. So I think we'll try and end up kind of somewhere middle-ish. I've hit a slow, which means we're middle right. So we're not dead, but also you'll notice there's that ground contour coming in that on the left it's going to be flatter. On here, got that slightly side hill lie. I mean, the green setting's awesome. Really like it. Really enjoying the planting. I think one thing, I wonder, I think you have sunken the bushes down. I think I would probably sink them down just a little bit more, particularly some of these guys. Or make them bigger, just because they pop out at distance and they look all blotchy. But I guess on console, it's probably hard to tell some of that stuff. The planting up close looks great. And I'd probably personally be chucking in some like grasses in and around the water, just because I love the way those look. But I, again, really like the hole, really like the green design. So if the pin's over here, I guess you can play more wherever. Although this is one of those where I love this sort of thing, where if I go too far right, again, suddenly I'm playing more across the edge of the green. So even a pin on this side still prefers a shot probably from the left. Slightly. It's not a big thing, but that's a long shot in given this wind. 188. Yeah. And then we've got that slope. Try and hit a little fade. Fast is just going to counteract any fade I put on it. It's not a bad shot, just not as good as some of the ones we were putting up earlier in the round. And it means we're hitting over that tiny little swale. So these greens, like where they get it right is just there are all of these tiers, and I see loads of designers chucking tiers onto greens, and they're really benign, and like you just hit the tier and that's fine. And they're kind of therefore, if you're not on the tier, it's just like you're hitting down and up. So like this one, I guess, could be considered our maiden maybe instead. There's this little swale in the back, but what I'm getting at, I'm being really slow here. If this tier were 1 foot up, it would be a really boring putt. But because it's such a small little movement and it's so subtle, this putt's really playable still. It doesn't feel boring. It still feels like I've got a chance of making it. Whereas and I think that's really important. I feel like the ones under my feet are going to affect it loads. I'm just going to go straight at it, I think. No, they didn't. But as you can see, like, decent chance of making that one, even though it wasn't the best approach shot. Like, you're never out of it on that green, which is a really hard balance to find. Ooh, got a little sign down there for something. Let's check this out. Oh, right. So that tells you where the flag is on any given day. And he's obviously put it on pin 1, I guess. If only you could change that per day. So we do know whereabouts on this punch bowl green the pin is, which is very cool. And it's a little bit of a peekaboo in that if you play too far right, you're completely blind. If you play left, you get the view, which is a nice way of encouraging you to take on hazard. I wouldn't mind light rough here. Well, that's about as good as a tee shot as I can hit. It's such a shame that in this game you have such a short club coming in, but I guess not everyone will. And it would be really receptive to like shots riding the slopes at the back or rolling up the front. I mean, all sorts of interesting positions on this one. I think my favourite might be front right, just because you've got to be bouncing it on and not running too far this way. The front left would be a blast as well. Yeah, they're all good. Wind has really picked up. That's a bit much. Oh no, that's a lot. Oh. I didn't see it taking that much through the wind. Okay. Here goes nothing. It's a good thing it's quite a private, empty course, right? Yeah, I think straight at it. That last break is taking it all the way back. Another really, really good hole. Just subtle, good golf. Okay, 12. What do we have here? I don't know if this is a template, but I like the green. I mean, this one could be considered our cape, really. I mean, it does have a front to back to front slope as well. Like, yeah. And it's the sort of length for an Eden. I mean, it looks just brilliant. Really like the decision to go in no front bunkers and just have the beach play as the hazard. Love that you brought this planting in, really ties it in well, and the rocks work nicely. There's our grasses. See, those just add an extra little layer of depth for me. Yeah. And it's a good example of a green that I'm not very good doing, where there's no... Because I like using red and orange slopes to kind of guide you to where you want to play the ball. And yet, I find these ones much harder to play on. because there's just all sorts of light green slopes, and they're really interesting and subtle, and I find them harder to play. I mean, I don't want to go long. 11 mile an hour is going to knock it down. Try to take a little off, and I think I've taken way too much off. Not a good shot. Up a foot as well. It's never turning that much. Ugh, not a good putt. Still, blemish 3 round so far. I still have to go back and replay 6 at this point, but ooh, a rare par 5. I appreciate that there's a couple of trees coming in on this hole. Again, a little glimpse of that water. Just made those grasses just a little smaller. That would really help. But the trees on this side really frame it, and they stand out because you've used so few of them. I'm going to play down this side because I feel like the land wants to move me back the other way, and therefore I've got the greatest margin for error. Okay. Par 5. Very raised green. Oh, comparatively. Very being about 6 foot. But for this course, that's a lot. Where do I not want to be? I do not want to be in that bunker. Mind missing somewhere down here is fine. Down 7 feet with wind. That's probably not getting there. That's going too far on. A great look from here. Just love the simplicity of the way this one sits. I've missed left in the place I really didn't want to go. I think that was the club as well. Right. Well, there you go. So again, like, there's strategy there. It's not forced on you. It gets that balance really nicely. Oh, there's a bunker shot. I'll take that. So just shows how much work you have to do to make short siding really difficult in this game. Wish it played more like it should. Okay, so this one we get the land contours moving us down this way. Would love if the planting kind of moved a little bit more in height as well, and this one in particular I'd probably lose just because it can really highlight that gradual slope this side. But I love the clear cant of the fairway here telling us what's going on. Ooh. Even though, okay. So back plateau. So we want to play to the outside really, I guess. Otherwise you're coming in over those bunkers. 3 wood might be the play here. You'd definitely be needing a caddy for this one. Oh no, gone too far. Light rough is okay. Good view of the houses across the water as well. Yeah, this is not exactly a bad miss. We're okay with that. 90%. We just loft up and a bit of spin as much as we can. Ah. Do you get the odd very fast cropping into my game? Okay, sand wedge splash. That's going to 7. Ugh. That should roll out nicely. Yeah, I haven't really commented on the hole. There's not, again, not a huge amount to say that's not really good. I love the little hogs back. I wonder, is there a pin where I'd prefer being down here? Maybe front right? Just to be able to use that to funnel the ball more in this way rather than kind of away, but I don't think so. I think most of them you want to be on this high side. Which makes sense, because it's not like you can see where the pin is from the tee. Your caddy might know, but... Okay. love this green site again, just set in that grove of trees. This is one that caught my eye really early on. Again, like this sort of willingness to be able to dump a slope off this way, which is something I wouldn't tend to do myself, lends to this really interesting kind of raised area here on a little bit of a diagonal. And then pockets back here, and that front one. It means I probably want to approach it more from here than I do here. So here you're going across those slopes, here you're going this way, and that's the angle we're playing off. Again, love the view. I might vary up the rocks a little. You'll notice all my feedback is visual. Always is. So it's kind of how much do you want to cut off, but also I think I want to be playing more to the outside again here. But I'm not going to be too fussed if I'm on the inside. See, where was that tempo on the last hole? That's fine. We can play with that. Okay, moves us further to the outside. Red slope. Pretty long approach. It does play tough in this wind. I got away with it for the first few holes. Wind isn't moving it back much there. Probably hit fast, so yeah, didn't account for it enough. Hit big fast. And yeah, again, like a difficult putt to make for birdie, but it's going to be an easy par. Not as long as I don't massively overhit it. Yeah. Never in danger of hitting the hole. Planting looks great here. Like the mix of items you've gone for is perfect. Okay, final par 3, I assume. Another kind of mid-length one, and I like that they've mostly been mid-length and we haven't got anything crazy long. We haven't had I mean, there's not been a par 3 template in the sense of the Biarritz. Well, there's been 2. We haven't had the Biarritz or the Redan, and I'm kind of okay. I'm okay with that. I don't tend to do those either. And they're because they're so copied by in-game designers, I think they've lost a lot of. It's very hard to make them unique. I really appreciate the change in colour over here. So what we said about the grasses here, now they're more clumped everywhere, and there's mostly brown here, and that lends a good visual balance. Cool to see the clubhouse in the distance as well. Okay, that's the tempo I was wanting. There we go. Go on, roll up. Oh, like that a lot. Another quite very subtle par 3. I know Adam says he struggles with par 3s to make them like, I don't know, he doesn't like building them as much as 4s and 5s, and I get that, I'm similar. But they've all been really good. Like just solid and in good spots, and that's kind of what you can really, and asking slightly different questions, that's all you can really do. Planting here is great. It's partly the lighting is helping you a little bit. It doesn't seem like it should be, but it is. But the mix of grasses is really good. The spacing's great. The visual balance, I guess, of having something like breaking up your view mid-tier and then your grass all works really well together. And then on the right side, you've got that negative space of the water, which again, just really helps. 17 is arguably the most famous of all the holes at Fisher's Island. And okay, so he's gone for a road hole here. Nice. So we hug the left-hand side and you get that angle in. Go this side more, and you're heading over that bunker. Angle's done really, really well. Doing a road hole without the angles being extreme is difficult. I like having that slow with the wind, and I will take light rough on this side versus fairway on the other side. It's much easier as an approach shot. Some less downwind and across, and yeah, much more I can do from this side, I think. again, kind of in between clubs. If I only had a 4-iron, I've used it like 4 times this round, maybe. Here, I think. And let's just not try and hit fast. No. Little baby fast, go on, get a kick left. It looked like there was a slope, might help. Love this green. Really like the way we're banked into the road, as ever. And it might be for that back right pin you actually do play way out right. I could see an argument for it. Probably not still. Just really good. Again, doing a lot without very many big slopes on the green, or rather red slopes on the green. The road hole should be one of your toughest par 4s on the course, and definitely the case here. I think there's too much respect. Nope. There's a par. Really enjoyed that hole. Holing that sort of a putt definitely makes it better. But okay, and our home hole. Oh, it's a par 5. Yeah. You got your green separated and down here, which does allow you to do much more with the angles and making them matter by shifting green somewhat. And it gives us that heroic carryover water. Like, this is where you put that green 100% if you have this plot. So we want to be down the right side because it shortens the approach somewhat. And it looks like a flatter lie again. Pretty much dead flat. Okay, longer approach into this one than all of the others as well, which makes sense. Really cool, heroic shot to finish off with. Really like the setting. Again, I kind of think, planting-wise, your planting's been really good on this course. It's better than any of your others by a mile. This would be the one where I'm putting in tons of time and just a couple of different bits of colours. And like, for the most part, you've done lots of good stuff here. Just like, let's have another couple of highlight spots because it's right in front of the clubhouse. Like, could you bring that pink flower in and bury some of those trees somewhere? Just a little pop. Doesn't need much. But the green side again is just really, really good. We have had quite a lot of similar green sites, but Fisher's kind of does. And I don't think you could have done much more. I mean, have we seen this green site bedded down before on the round? Yeah. Does it get old? Not really. Really like them. Okay, so it's going to run up. 5 wood's the play. Now, come on, wind. Might not quite be enough if it bounces soft. Yeah, I think that's better than trying to take something off a 3-wood. Seeing the carnage which happens when I try and take something off a shot. Love the beachy area. One thing that might have been, I don't think it would have been quite fitting, but it would have been cool, is bring the beach in and bleed it into those bunkers, but I don't think you need it necessarily. Or just have beach the right-hand side, but again, I like that it's just, this is the course, it's simple, and it's not simple, but classic. Up and over. Come on. What a way to finish. Ah, happy guy. I still need to go and record the 6th again, but so could be that that scores a little bit less, but what a blast of a round. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, ton of fun. If you haven't played this, do go and play it. Shoreham Island Club. And there's just loads of stuff to enjoy with Grovey courses. So it's got an interesting routing in the sense that you got 3 par 5s and the 4 par 3s, but there's a load of par 4s. It doesn't play overly long. Like, it's long enough that the ground game matters on a few holes, particularly 17 and 18. But it's not overly punitive in any way, shape, or form. Really good mix of green sites. The green contours and complexes are the things that you'll always take away from Adam's courses. But I think environment work's getting sneaky good as well. Obviously, that's the main area where I will be picking up on because
he knows that's probably his greatest relative weakness, but it is like that fifth tee shot, for example, is one that like that's one of the best framed tee shots I've seen in the game. No hyperbole there. And the par threes are getting better and better, so really enjoyed it. Give it a round. Hope you enjoyed, and I might do more of these videos. We'll see how we feel.